for this roadmap roundup, this just from a few days ago. Um, some pretty interesting stuff. More so at the bottom of this, at least in my view. Um, so bearing with me that voice is still a little baritone from whatever respiratory thing I got going on, but just have to deal with it. Regardless, so they made some updates to both kind of 4.0 as a whole, um, as well as, or really it's kind of like 4.x somewhat at this point. Um, but yeah, there's that, and then also some 1.0 changes. So basically everything that's been in 4.0, the dot zero, the dot one, those are all released. The supplier die event is basically phase three, which started out as Save Stanton, and then it was fight for Pyro, and now it's supply or die. So just kind of different chapters, if you will, all sort of connected to the same story. Um, I'm not sure exactly why they're going this approach of the whole redacted mission giver and location, and um, I, I mean, you probably could have found a more generic way of explaining it, but I guess whatever. It sounds exciting, kind of gets you more hyped for it, so I can't complain too much. Um, I'm not sure what they mean by a mission giver, because it says a new mission giver, and really there is no mission giver now. I mean, if you think in terms of like traditional RPGs, like I don't know, World of Warcraft or something, a mission giver is literally someone standing there with like a question mark above their head. Um, that to me is a mission giver. If they're talking about just the contract manager, and you can get it from a new source, cool. But yeah, I'm kind of curious what they have planned there. The fact that they talk about a location, um, that could be cool too. I know you can interact with some characters in the game, like at the little commodity hubs, things like that. At some of the outposts, like the mining outposts. Um, but yeah, so that sounds fun. It piques my curiosity. The sandbox activity, that's really cool. I'm not sure what they're calling by sandbox. Typically, when I think sandbox, I think of games like Rust where you can kind of just do your own thing. You make whatever you want, you destroy it, whatever. Um, so this might be some sort of just like recurring event. And when I say event, I mean, it spawns units or I don't know, something's happening and it just kind of keeps refreshing. Um, so that might be interesting. I just don't know what it might mean. Um, because I don't know what their definition of sandbox is. Sig likes to do their own thing compared to other games, it seems, which can be good. I just don't, yeah, I don't know what it means. New armor set sounds cool enough, although until they get like the stat bonuses or whatever that they talked about, or I should say set bonuses that they talked about at CitizenCon for 2024. Until that's there, I don't know that that's. I mean, it's cool aesthetically, I'm sure. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be when they mentioned rugged, I think pyro, so it's probably going to be in pyro or at least pyro type of a theme, but still cool. I know some of the new helmets and stuff they've added. I personally like them. A lot of people like them. They look really cool. Very. It went from like kind of the super clean aesthetic of a lot of the armor you find in Stanton to very more kind of like I don't know, almost like post-apocalyptic type look. So just from a art design standpoint, I think that'll be fun just to see more of that. Even if it doesn't really matter in terms of like how well it protects you or anything like that. Um, the space combat missions, this looked maybe good, maybe not. I'm curious for sure. As someone who's done the bounty hunting grind way too many times in my life for this game, this could be really neat. Um, I think that I mean ship combat's obviously a huge aspect. The more ships they add, the more demand there's going to be for it. So certainly if it's more you know elaborate than just take down these ships or just take out this specific target and then fly away. That'll be fun. Um, the storytelling part, that's maybe a little bit of a question mark still, but time will tell. Still, just for that kind of PVE aspect, whether it actually gives you good rewards or not, just it's just fun to fly around. So curious what they have up their sleeve for that one. Um, excuse me. Yeah, some new weapons. The Volt stuff still not out yet, but seems like it's coming. 4.1.x. So if they stick to the patch a month, might not be that far away. Assuming that 4.1.0 is the next one. Um, if that's the case, then cool. Maybe it's a couple months off, which in the grand scheme of things isn't too bad. And then they showed some of these pictures and stuff, but for these the Hathor mining stations and the ground alignment, um, this sounded fun. I don't know what you get out of it, i.e., what's the incentive for the player, but just the idea that there are certain pieces on planets or in space or whatever, and there's some advantage or some reason that you would want to kind of flip the switch or hit the button. Sounds cool. I mean, if this is like a large scale mining laser, just kind of brainstorming, but it would certainly be fun if you could activate that and then take off with whatever it mines. That would be kind of a cool way if you don't have a mining ship, but you have enough incentive to go through the hurdles to do that. That would be kind of cool. So this kind of came out of nowhere, and it's one of those things that actually could be a lot more fun than things that we've heard about for months or years. So yeah, I don't know why. That just kind of excites my curiosity for what that could be. And then this is probably the most interesting part. So all these additions to 1.0, I'm not. They're not all new, as in like some of these we've already heard about. In fact, most all of this we've heard about. It's more just the curious nature of adding it to 1.0. The whole idea was 1.0 was supposed to be this collection of everything they needed to go to like a full release. Obviously, some of these things like engineering they had planned for 4.0 and it didn't make it. So the fact that it's shifting from 4.0 to 1.0 isn't that alarming, but just the idea that they're adding things to 1.0 when they sort of sold it as no, this is exactly what 1.0 contains. We have now scoped it. We're not going to have scope creep. And well, look what we have. So, the quantum boost thing, cool. It's super useful, especially when you get those annoying, contracts where you have to fly like 300 kilometers and for some reason you can't quantum travel to that target. That's a huge pain in the ass. So getting this is nice, but it's also sort of a reflection of them still needing to tweak and refine and figure out how they want to deal with master modes or sub modes or whatever they're going to call it next. But anyway, so again, a lot of this stuff isn't too crazy. This one's a little bit new. I don't recall them ever talking about item wear. Fits in with crafting. I mean, I can think of tons of RPGs over the years that your item loses like durability. You go to like a forge or a blacksmith and you repair it to full. Sometimes at each repair its total durability lowers until it's like basically useless. So not groundbreaking, but it is one more thing that they have to implement, and I don't recall them talking about it previously. So could you say it's a little bit of scope creep? Absolutely. I don't know that it's going to be that hard to implement, but you give Sig more distractions and well, it'll take longer. So the solar flare, basically cosmic radiation, cool. I mean, it's more of an annoyance as a player. I don't know that it's gonna get me excited about wow, now my ship's more damaged or this or that, but you know, at least if they want to make Pyro a higher reward area, then increasing the risk, i.e., something like solar flares, pirates, etc., can certainly do that. So I think there's benefit there. Um, and yeah, um, the radar and scanning rework, I think they have talked about that in different ways. It's not great now. I get a lot of weird behaviors like scanning, and you just don't get the information you would expect to. So that's cool. It's more of a quality of a life thing for me. It's not like it's not in the game. It's just if they could make it better. So that to me, hopefully, is just a polish thing, not 10 more passes of them trying to figure it out. Kind of like I've noticed lately with the UI for ships with the HUD. I mean, they just keep changing it and changing it. I think it is getting better, but every single build, it seems like they're coming out with something a little bit different. Um, the FPS radar and scanning they talked about, at least with like I think like certain armor sets. So I don't know if everything's gonna have that, but that will be interesting. Um, I don't know if I'm excited about it, but it'll be interesting when it's introduced. Um, the hangar customization, they've talked about this before. Um, and basically you can get more space, put more stuff. Not all hangars are equal depending on like which city or space station you're at, like in Pyro. So, and if I had to guess, it's probably functionality that will help with customizing space stations and player-owned space stations in the future. So, um, they have to do it anyway. So to get the benefit along the way is cool. Um, the weapon overheat, that to me again, it's like quality of life or something. I don't. It might make the game a little more interesting, but I don't know if I really care. Radiation, they talked about it, CitizenCon as well. More so, other planets, other systems. I think there were some, maybe it was like moons or something in the Nyx system that had like radiation and stuff, and you'd have to wear certain suits. Um, that by itself is not really exciting. It's what do I do when I get there? If you're just gonna like give me a bunch of headache, um, cool, but like then I would just never go there. So presumably there's special mining materials or things to discover or something that makes it worth it. Otherwise, like I said, by itself, it's kind of silly. Um, and the repair gameplay, they gave it a shot. The fact that it went from, I guess, 4.0 or 4.0.1 to just we'll kick it out to now it's just 1.0 and we'll get there when we get there. I'm not opposed to that approach, right? If it's not ready, it's like don't force it. Um, but all they had at the time was just repairing pipes and that was and then like fuses. So I'm a little baffled unless they're trying to make it much more complex. Like, what's so complicated here? I mean, the pipe is you're essentially just like painting a texture, like almost like a spray paint onto a pipe. It goes from transparent where it's broken to opaque. So surely that can't be the holdup, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it sounded kind of fun. It kind of made Pyro a little more interesting, just because okay, things are broken in this sort of desolate system. It's something to do, another way to make money. But yeah, I just I don't get it. So anyway, that's all moving along, and yeah, so it is reflected in 4.1 for a lot of this stuff, for like the mission givers, the armor set, um, things like that, and then space combat missions, etc. So it's all there. But otherwise, I think some neat things to look forward to in 4.1. Obviously, it's not going to have as large of an impact as 4.0, but otherwise, looks good. And then 1.0 getting chunkier. So there's also this sneak peek, and this actually got me really excited. So in CitizenCon, they talked about like a sewer system or whatever it is underneath ArcCorp, like Area 18, and it sounded very different from everything in Star Citizen so far. It almost sounded like dungeon runs or something. And as someone who's enjoyed that in the past, like I don't know that that's the kind of experience I'm expecting in Star Citizen. But just the fact that like this looks very similar to the layout they described. I'm seeing like stairs descending lower and lower. Um, you go down one level and then another level. Um, it just sounds so different that I'm actually curious to try it. I don't know how much I enjoy it, but just for adding more variety into the game, I dig it. And the other cool thing is it seemed like pipe dream type stuff. Like, some things they're going to get to within a year or two, and you should look forward to that. Some of this stuff is going to be so many years away that it's like, cool, let me know when it's actually ready. But the fact that they're sneak peeking this already and it looks, fairly complete, not that they can't reuse assets and stuff. It's not like they're starting from scratch, but this just makes me think it's maybe not as far as I had thought. I still think 1.0 as a whole is far off just because there's so much polish needed. But I don't know. It just looks cool. It looks different. I know it's empty in this particular, sneak peek, but, you could imagine if it was a little more filled out, you were trying to get to something. I don't know if it's one of the computers on the side. I don't know if there's certain items you're looking for. But yeah, and especially as like some variety from like contested zones, because I get that people want PvE, and it's not like I'm opposed to PvE if it's well done. Um, so whether there's like more enemies or just more challenging ones, or if there's a bit of like puzzle solving, like as someone who's enjoyed like Portal and Half-Life and stuff like that in the past, and just really sort of any puzzles in games, that could be fun too. Um, so yeah, normally sneak peeks are kind of lame. Honestly, they're just kind of like the next ship. Here's yet another ship, and you can buy it in a couple months, and cool, I guess. But I've flown enough ships in the game. This is radically different content. Again, not that it's new in the grand scheme of things, but for Star Citizen, it would be very different. So yeah, I don't know. I dig it actually. Like I'm actually genuinely excited, assuming it's what I think it is. If it's not, I don't know what else it would be. But that's my guess. Is this is the sewer stuff under Area 18? So we'll see. But yeah, I like it if it's what I think it is.